Hi, everyone. I'm live today with a special guest, Jaylee Chandonnet. I tease her because actually behind her back, I call her Jaylee Chardonnay. That's my favorite wine, but that is not her name. It's Chandonnay. And her title is the Community Wellness Manager, and she hails from Sure Healthcare in Pigeon, Michigan. We Michiganders, like she lives in the thumb, right? And she has been nominated by her steering team on the journey down there at Sure as the Grateful Leader, a coveted title, the Grateful Leader. So when I reached out to all of our partners, Jaylee, I fully expected that, every single initiative champion would respond back to me, oh, we have several grateful leaders. But that's not what I heard, right? That's not what I heard. So, one of the reasons why there may not be enough grateful leaders in this world, the first thing is that leaders see gratitude, showing appreciation, showing recognition, knowing the difference between the two, having a daily cadence of doing all those things, as well as team celebrations for a reason, party on purpose, right? That they see it as a soft thing. They see it as something that, okay, well, so with all the things that I had on my plate today, showing appreciation got put on the back burner, oh well, I'll try to get to it tomorrow, right? Which is good. At least they're not saying it's dumb, right? Um, but we had, this horrifying situation happen in the middle of the pandemic. We were probably, several months into the country shutting down, and we were, making contact with all of our partners, and we had a leader say to us one time, "Oh my goodness, with all that's going on in our country and in our town and in our hospital and in my family, I completely gave up writing thank you notes at a time when my people need them more than ever," right? Because she saw it as soft and saw it as something that wasn't necessary. It was just kind of there, right? The other thing that happens with leaders is they believe they display appreciation through their actions, which of course there are actions that display appreciation, but they believe that, oh hey, I bought them pizza last week, so what else do they want? Or they get a paycheck, that's my least favorite one. Or, I work shoulder to shoulder with them, I cover their lunch, surely they know I appreciate them. Writing a thank you note is dumb, right? It takes up time that I don't have. So there's with all these things, that we hear all the time about why people can't make time for appreciation. I'm so happy to hear that in your role as the community wellness manager, you make the time. So you work with volunteers, you have a staff yourself, but you work with volunteers as well. So tell me what happens when somebody walks up to you in the community and says, "Hey, I was in the ER Saturday night at your hospital, Jaylee, and oh, I just loved that nurse Jane. She was amazing." Tell me what you do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, first, I have a huge smile on my face because who doesn't like to hear that the place that they're working at is doing a great job? So, if I hear somebody have a positive comment or just overall expressing how great Sure is, I try my best to write it down so I don't forget. Put a
Mhm.
little note in my phone, or if I happen to have a piece of paper, jot that down. And I try to go to that person directly to let them know, hey, I was at this event. This person said this about you. You're doing awesome. And then I try to take it to the next level and let their management know as well, just so that it's not getting overlooked. And if somebody is doing something absolutely amazing, I either take it to our direct leadership. So it would be our senior leadership team, maybe even our CEO if it was something super outstanding, because everybody deserves that recognition, and everybody loves to hear how good of a job they're doing and how much they make a difference.
I mean, when I asked you, "Hey, why does everybody think you're so special?" You right away said, "I love to give on the spot, in the moment recognition." And that is a skill. It's a skill to be seen as sincere.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
I've
think a lot of people appreciate that, knowing that how great of a job they're doing and that you see it in the moment. Like, hey, you did a great job at XYZ, like keep it up, great job, I see you. Versus if maybe a few days later, they might have already forgotten what they've done. And so if you kind of let them know, hey, you're doing great at this, a lot of times it's a repeat thing and they're like, oh, I got told I did a good job at this, I'm going to keep doing it. So I think people really appreciate that as well.
and I love what you said, I see you.
Mhm.
And the research on why people leave an organization or even a department is because they feel unappreciated and unheard, and they believe that their work is not seen or the things that they do are not seen. So good for you. Just I saw that. I recognize it. It's a compliment, a positive call out. So thank you notes. Surely someone as positive as you must write thank you notes.
Yes, I love thank you notes. I love stationery, so that's also a huge plus, all the cute stationery. So that's also a higher factor because I get to use those as well. But yes, I think a handwritten note goes a long way. And then it's also a little bit of a keepsake for that person to look back on and just kind of reflect and have something in writing. I think another way that I really like to show thank you cards is sending them to the person's house so they can get mail at their house because as adults, a lot of times the mail we get is sadly junk mail. So, or a bill. So it's nice to have something fun to open and just know that either your management or whoever it might be, a direct coworker took the time to write you a letter to let you know how much their work is appreciated, how they're making a difference in their workforce or their community. It just goes a long way to know a simple thank you note that can take 3 minutes just makes a huge difference in people's lives, I feel like.
It really does. Well, what it does is it takes them back. Just like you said, I approach someone directly and tell them, I see you. I saw what you did. Thank you so much. Makes them, in the moment realize they are appreciated for what they do as a human being, right? But then second, when they get that thank you note in the mail, what research tells us is then their mind, their feelings, their thoughts relives the moment that they're being thanked for. So they may have appreciated what they did a week ago, but then when they get your note in the mail too, they're like, wow, okay, I'm reliving that positive. And what people tell us, I mean, Jay Lee, you're young. Sue and I are not young. Okay. So we're talking thousands of thank you notes. And hundreds of times people have said, you have no idea how that came to me at the exact right time, how I needed it so much that day. Like you said, as adults, when you open up the mailbox, it's like, this time too, it's politics time, right? Oh, so yeah, but good for you. I really love, tell our audience how you talk to your own personal staff that report to you about appreciation.
Yeah, so every month I set a time that it's that person, my direct staff, that is our line, our time that we're going to sit together and talk. One time during our staff rounding, and of course we talk every single day, you know, just like how's it going, everything like that. But we have a set time that this is just me and you. So one time I asked my staff, how do you like to be appreciated? Most of them said verbal, just in the moment as it's going. But I had one say, I like to be appreciated by the handwritten notes again. So another example of liking to have a little note. So I try to make it a point to either a letter to home, just a simple letter on their desk when they get to work, like, hey, hope you have a great day, or just something simple like that. Kind of takes me back to my days when mom would pack my lunch and put a little note in there and just know you're loved. So it's
Yeah.
just those little things that make a huge difference, or a little piece of candy with a small play on words. Those all just make a big difference because knowing that somebody else is thinking of you, if somebody else is thinking of me, it makes me smile. So hopefully other people feel the same way. And so just those little small acts of kindness go a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that is actually a best practice. It's an elevated best practice to ask people how they like to be appreciated. A lot of times we don't coach that when we do leadership training because we just want people to write thank you notes. We just want people to begin, like just start. But that really shows why you're the grateful leadership champion at your hospital is because you go that extra mile. So, thank you, Jaylee, for taking the
Yeah.
time with me. If you want to learn what Jaylee has learned and more, we book a call with us. We would love to hear from you and love to hear your stories of gratitude. Our capstoneleadership.net website has, a bunch of buttons that you can push to book a call with us. Thanks, Jaylee.
Thank you so much for having me, Jane.
No worries.